riders everywhere at the moment, and we can see Visconti is, battling on bravely here, and Rabottini also giving his everything, but not gaining anything, and they're just hovering there a minute apart, and it's been like that for quite a number of kilometres now, and it looks like that Visconti, the way he is going at the moment as he comes to the 2 kilometres, if he can keep going as he has been the last 2 kilometres, well then he could hold on here, because nobody is really eating into anybody's advantage. We can see Sammy Sanchez, well, he's walking away at it, but it's not coming down drastically quick.
Well, is there any chance that Giovanni Visconti could hang on? They've been out there since just after 50 kilometres to go, or 50 kilometres into the stage, and it would be an epic stage win if Giovanni Visconti can hang on. So now we see activity behind, and Haynau looks like he's struggling. Little look over the shoulder from Uran. Maybe he got the call on the radio to say that Haynau is getting dropped from this group. Uran looks to be sitting there comfortably on the wheel of Carlos Betancourt. Although, to be fair, I doubt any rider is feeling particularly comfortable with these gradients and these weather conditions that they're facing. Visconti pushes on. Well, who dares to dream? Who would have thought that he'd have any chance when he started the climb of the Galibier, but he's kept plenty in hand. Wilco Kelderman, though, is going to be mopped up by the favourites group very, very shortly. Where is Samuel Sanchez and Caruso? Now the attacks come. Vincenzo Nibali has had enough. His patience has been tried, and his team have set the pace for long enough, and Vincenzo Nibali clearly feels very strong indeed, and he is attacked, and Giovanni Visconti is immediately all over that one, as indeed is Mauro Sant'Ambrogio. Cadel Evans grinds his way back onto the wheel, and Rigoberto Uran and in turn Carlos Betancourt are right there too. But the first signs of activity from the race leader as Vincenzo Nibali decides to take up the chase of these riders up front. Inside 2 kilometres, just over 1.5 kilometres for the race leader Visconti. Matteo Rabottini will be mopped up, you feel, before the end of this stage. 1 minute and 35 seconds the advantage for Visconti, and he's going to need all of that, and he may well need a little bit more that he doesn't have right now. Can Visconti hang on? And more importantly, can anyone distance Vincenzo Nibali? Or in turn, can Nibali distance his rivals? Kelderman, a brave effort. And doesn't look like it's going to work out for him today, because Rafael Maika is safely in there, so too is Carlos Betancourt. So in terms of the chase for the young riders classification, Kelderman hasn't gained any advantage at this point. Just Giovanni Visconti is really suffering, so too is Matteo Rabottini. What scenes on the Galibier. It's an epic struggle on an epic mountain. 59 times it has played host to the Tour de France, but this is the first time that the Giro d'Italia has made it up, and it was well worth all the efforts with snowplows and explosives and whatever they did to clear the snow. As we see further activity, Rafael Maika is still full of fight. Betancourt, of course, needs to attack for GC and defend his position in the young riders classification, and Vincenzo Nibali looks to piggyback this little skirmish between the young riders contenders. Cadel Evans is alive to the danger in the red of BMC. Rabottini comes back to them. Visconti, though, hits the final kilometre under the kite. Can he possibly hang on? And this, as I said, the cruelest gradient of all comes within the last kilometre, 11%, Sean.
Yes, and he is really suffering, but again, we can see back in the main group of favourites, the staff team look at each other, and we see Maika putting in an attack there, as we see one of the Colombian riders going here, and that's the advantage of Visconti. If they just look at each other for a moment, well then he should be able to hold on. To see Durante there having a go once again, but I think Visconti should be able to make it. The advantage he has, it looks like that he's going to hold on.
Duarte of Colombia tries his luck. Rabottini is almost back, looks over his shoulder, and he makes one last effort, and that is a valiant effort indeed from Rabottini. What a fighting performance from the Italian rider. Now Evans has a little go. But it's just a little bit of shadow boxing. Nibali is right on the wheel of the Australian. Betancourt has come out and he's decided to go for it. The man from AG2R attacks. Evans just watches. He's not able to respond. Micah, of course, has to for the young rider classification honours. And now the leading riders are inside the final kilometre, and they've 300 metres to try and chase down on this man up front, as he has been for so much of the afternoon. Giovanni Visconti racing on towards glory. Can he possibly hang on? He steals a little look over his shoulder, but he hasn't got time for that. And the visibility is so low at this point, he'll barely see anything, even if he could. Betancourt slows to a crawl. Duarte presses on. Micah as well. These three riders with a narrow advantage over Vincenzo Nibali, who doesn't seem all that concerned. Best placed of them, of course, is Rafael Micah at the outskirts of the top 10. Scarponi, side by side with Nibali. Scarponi of Lampre Merida in pink, and Nibali of the more important Maglia Rosa pink, riding for the Astana team. Duarte sets the pace inside the final 700 metres, but look at this man. Giovanni Visconti has made it to the finishing cameras. He's made it inside the last 350 metres, and it looks as if he's going to make it to score a famous victory in the Giro d'Italia, as the favourites group continue to eye each other. And so far they've fought out a draw. Is there a final sting in the tail? Visconti, though, needs to keep fighting all the way to the line. You can't freewheel on these gradients.
It's 250 to go, and we can see the advantage he's got. Betancourt will be the danger one because he can finish very strong, but we can see there's quite a nice advantage all the time, and Visconti on the way to taking the victory.
Yeah, he's got a couple of 100 metres in hand. He's inside the final 150 metres. He'll ride it all the way to the line. He certainly has to do that, but it's looking good for Giovanni Visconti, who led the mountains classification early in this race, but that was just a minor thing compared to this. A wonderful stage success for the Spaniard as he heads towards glory on stage 15 of the Giro d'Italia. He lifts the zip as much to show the sponsors' colours, but I suspect also to try and keep them warm. Meanwhile, what's happening behind as Betancourt and co do battle? But Giovanni it is that takes in stage 15 of the Giro d'Italia of 2013, and he's absolutely exhausted after a titanic effort and hung out there in front when so many, including myself, doubted him. What an excellent effort as the favourites group scrapping hard. Vincenzo Nibali with Cadel Evans, Sant'Ambrogio et al. for company. Betancourt at the back of this group. Rafael Micah shapes to attack towards the line.
And Micah and Betancourt, of course, are going to fight out this one because the time difference in the Young Jersey classement is very important, because it's only 7 seconds separation. So if Betancourt can take this one, then he will move into the Young Jersey classement.
Well, Betancourt it is that does finish second on the stage and take those all-important bonus seconds, and with it the jersey. But Scarponi leads the rest of the favourites across the line. Vincenzo Nibali safely in his wheel. So too is Cadel Evans, Mauro Sant'Ambrogio, Rigoberto Urán, and I think Kieselowski was in there as well. But they were the minor players, really, to a wonderful solo stage performance by Giovanni Visconti today. Danilo De Luca rides in solo. Delighted to have ended the pain and suffering today, but disappointed that he wasn't able to get in amongst them. And they're coming in dribs and drabs, and they'll be hoping to get to shelter as quickly as possible. Only one team car from each team allowed up this hill. Pozzovivo's lost time. That's significant. So not a good stage for Domenico Pozzovivo, perhaps suffering in the cold. But what about Giovanni Visconti? Superb effort from him. And Sean, the leading riders really did fight out a bit of a draw. Vincenzo Nibali shaped to attack, but the other riders were equal to it, and well, they didn't have anything for an attack from themselves after that.
You know, we see this pace being all the time set on the climb by Astana team, and Nibali was just happy with that. He did not need to attack, and we did see that he just put in a little bit of a one when Scarponi, I think, went in the attack, but none of the big favourites really, you know, looked like they were going to challenge the Astana and Nibali on that final climb.